Welcome everyone to the B&E podcast presented by Premium. He's Ed. I'm Brandon. Week 14 is officially underway. Playoff scenarios starting to form and develop. Ed, what's going on this Friday afternoon?
Nothing much, man. Just glad the weekend is here. Ready to get into this show. That's all I'm ready for, boy.
I agree.
All right, let's do it. Let's get to this open the drive, man. Ex-Jaguars employee accused of stealing $22 million from the team. That's freaking crazy. The
Yeah.
49ers have signed defensive back Logan Ryan for depth after their safety, Talanoa Hufanga, hope I said that right, tore his ACL in November. The Browns haven't said if Flacco or DTR, the quarterback, will get the start on Sunday. Jacksonville will reportedly wait until Sunday to determine if Trevor Lawrence is their signal caller. And Bills head coach Sean McDermott apologizes for referencing 9/11 hijackings in their team meeting 4 years ago. That's kind of crazy as well. Another crazy thing I want to get into last night. I'm sure a lot of people were surprised about the ending of this game. Patriots beat the Steelers 21-18. I'm gonna be honest with you. You had to basically remind me the game was on. I was watching the NBA in season tournament,
Yep.
so I didn't turn the game on until about halfway through the second quarter, and I was thoroughly surprised at the score and to see that there was points on the board. I thought it was going to be like a 3-6 game, but
Yeah.
like I said, the Patriots ended up winning 21-18. Jake Browning, excuse me, not Jake Browning, Bailey Zapp. He had 3 touchdowns. Zeke kind of did his thing as well. He only had 68-yard rushings, but he had some effective runs out there. Mitchell Trubisky, you were telling me he was getting booed a lot. I saw 1 second they showed Mason Rudolph, and honestly, it looked like he was happier on the sideline than being in that game because that crowd was ruthless. This is the Steelers' second loss, and it's kind of surprising. They were 7-4, and you look at their schedule. We got Arizona, and then we got the Patriots. I'm sure a bunch of Steelers fans were thinking, well, we can have a good chance to go on 9-4, but now they are 7-6, and it's looking funny for them the rest of the way. Brandon, what did you think of this game, though, man?
Yeah. One of my old cooks I used to work with in the restaurant industry, he used to say all the time, dumb is you. And that's exactly what he would have said if he saw me, um, heading into that game and after that game when I picked the Steelers, not to win because we probably all expected them to win, even Patriots fans, honestly. But I locked them in my picks league. That was my guarantee because of the
Mm.
records. And I was like, Pittsburgh at home in prime time, they're really good there. But I got fooled. I forgot how good Bill Belichick teams are when it comes to preparation and everything. They came out the gates, seemed like they were more physical. Um, they obviously scored a lot more in that first half. But yeah, it was kind of a lousy game. You mentioned Zappy played surprisingly good, even though I've been saying that he's the better quarterback between him and Mac Jones, even though it hasn't really shown up this year, besides last night. Um, other than that, nobody, I mean, Zeke as well, you mentioned him. He filled in well for Ramondre Stevenson, who was out on injury. But other than that, nobody else really wowed me for either team. The Steelers, the offense kind of reminds me of the years when we had Kyle Bowler and Joe Flacco in his latter years.
Mm.
Um, a lot of big names at the skill position, but they just don't have nobody to get them the ball. Last night, a lot of 3-and-outs for Pittsburgh, as well as a lot of negative plays. You mentioned, I told you about the booing. That crowd, yeah, they were intense. They kind of reminded me of Philly fans last night, how they was letting their team know. Um,
Pennsylvania, they right down the
yeah,
highway.
it's the whole state. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, New England, they had totaled 13 points in their past 3 games combined. They got past that point in the second quarter um, against a solid Pittsburgh defense. I know TJ Watt went out early in that game. He did come back, at least the part I was watching the first half. But Steelers right now hovering just over 500, 7-6, as you mentioned. Um, Final thought, I still have no doubt they will not finish below 500. It's just not common for Tomlin. This was a hiccup, and so was the Cardinals game. Two teams they should have beaten. Um, they changed offensive coordinators. Let Matt Canada go, but I think that um, I I had them going into the playoffs heading into the season. I don't think right now at this very moment they will, just because this is around that time of the year that you gotta win if you want to be a wild card team. And they've knocked um, two down, one against the NFC, one against the AFC. I mentioned them; they're so important when you lose these games like this to an AFC opponent. It comes
Mm.
back to hunt you if you end up with a tiebreaker type situation. So yeah, it's not looking good for them playoffs wise, but I do think that they'll finish over 500 again this year. I know that was a top of discussion for us last year when they was kind of like below 500. Would his streak be snapped, Tomlin's streak? So yeah, I think they'll finish above 500. No playoffs though at this point.
Yeah, and if that doesn't happen, Mike Tomlin's seat might get real hot, even though he's a
Mhm.
really good coach. I know a lot of Pittsburgh's fans are tired, sick and tired. They want somebody to catch the blame. Also, it was Hunter Henry's birthday yesterday, and he had himself hell of a game as far as touchdowns. He had
Yeah.
multiple touchdowns. So salute to Hunter Henry.
Yep. All right. The Colts, they'll try to boost their playoff seating on Sunday. They have a big matchup in the jungle. Colts and Bengals Sunday afternoon, um, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time kickoff on CBS. I'll be watching this game for the run game on both sides of the field. Cincinnati dead last in the NFL when it comes to running the ball across the field. The Colts and Zach Moss, they've been making strides on the ground. They rank 12th in the league with 115 yards per game on the ground. Neither of these quarterbacks I would want as my backup. Gardner Minshew, he's been serving up turnovers, uh, fresh out the oven, damn near every game. And then Browning, he isn't as bad. He held on the ball for too long. Every game he's played in so far, except for last Monday night, of course, he came on pretty good against Jacksonville. But yeah, I'll be also watching Cincinnati pass rush against the Indy offensive line. Trey Hendrickson, he's always one of my favorite low key defenders to
Yeah,
watch. We've seen a lot of him against the Ravens. Um, of course, I don't like to watch him when he's playing the Ravens, but yeah, Sam Hubbard, DJ Reader. They've all been playing well this year, despite the secondary continuing to gel. A lot of new pieces on the back end. But looking at the records, the Colts are surprisingly really good on the road, and I think that'll continue on Sunday, despite the Bengals coming off an upset win, excuse me, down in Jacksonville on prime time. I'm gonna go with the Colts in this one.
got you. Yeah, I got Cincy right now. Cincy's favored by 1.5 points according to Vegas. But like you said, the Colts are hot. They're on a 4-game winning streak right now. But if you look at the that 4-game winning streak, you could kind of say it's a little overrated. I mean, their
Yeah.
last 5 wins against teams with losing records. So I mean, they're winning games, but look who they're playing and look who they beat. I think they're coming up against a really good team right now as far as playmakers. I mean, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins is healthy. Joe Mixon, it looks like he's coming to form. He had a really good game last game, in my opinion. Um, and among the main reason I'm kind of leaning towards the Bengals in this one over the Colts, just because Jonathan Taylor is out. I know to start the season, Zach Moss, he came out the gate running, but lately, these last couple of weeks, he's kind of slowed down. Even the last
Mm,
game, you look at his numbers, they weren't really good at all. So I think the Bengals will be able to contain Zach Moss, but I think the game is going to be a little high scoring. Because Gardner Minshew, even though he does turn the ball over, he does show the ability to make some plays. Michael Pittman, he had himself a hell of a game last weekend. Um, I think that will continue. He'll find some other guys in that receiving room as well. But you said these are two backup quarterbacks I wouldn't have. I think both of these guys, man, are especially Browning. Like you said, he kind of surprised me last week. He had over like 350 yards. I was like, damn, what the hell is going on? I also
yeah.
had the Jaguars defense on my fantasy team, and I was like, he's carving these dudes apart. This is crazy. So I'm
Mhm.
kind of on the Jake Browning train a little bit. I know
Okay.
Joe Burrow was happy to see his team with. He's probably like, damn, I need to get back out here for this dude keep playing.
Yeah.
They might want him to be the starting quarterback. But yeah, give me the Bengals. I think it's going to be a close one. I think it might come down to a field goal, but I like the Bengals just because I like their playmakers a little bit overall than the
Mm.
Colts.
Then the Colts. Yep.
All right, we got an NFC East matchup that we're gonna get into next. The two top dogs of the division, not the bottom feeders, the freaking Commanders, the Giants. Sorry, everyone. But before we get into that matchup, this episode is brought to you by Premium, a CBD and wellness company. Check out their full line of CBD infused products, which make great stocking stuffers for the upcoming holiday season. Perfect for athletes, weekend warriors, soccer moms, and even armchair quarterbacks. They have CBD infused honey, which is a personal favorite, as well as tinctures and mint and regular flavor. Most importantly, they are veteran and women owned. So come get some of this sweet hemp tasting and taste the premium difference. Use code B and E for 15% off your order. Their website is premium.com. That's PREHEMIUM.com. Again, that's PREHEMIUM.com. And now let's get back to our show. Yeah, we got the Eagles at the Cowboys. The Cowboys are a 3.5 point favorite in this game. And I know the Cowboys usually when they play somebody good, they get mollywop stomped out, the doors blown off of everything like that. But I just don't trust this Eagles defense right now. They're getting gashed every play. I mean, they're losing defenders. I thought them signing Kevin Byard coming over from Tennessee would be a huge
Yeah.
addition on their defense, but it just hasn't seemed that way so far. Right now, the Eagles' pass defense is 29th ranked, and the Cowboys are looking good. Dak Prescott, he's in the MVP conversation, like one, two, one of those type, not just
Mhm.
top 10, but like number one or number two in the MVP conversation. CD Lamb has been playing well, but they're finally starting to get their tight end involved more and more. Jake Ferguson, I think we're going to hear his name a lot in this game. And as long as they don't make any dumb mistakes, Dak Prescott doesn't turn the ball over, fumbles going on. I think the Cowboys should win this game. I think I picked when Rashad was on, I picked the Cowboys and they they let both of us down. Rashad a little bit more than me.
Yep.
But yeah, man. I like the Cowboys in this one though. Brandon, how you feeling about this one?
Yeah, Buddy Ryan, Tom Landry, Jimmy Johnson, Andy Reid, Aikman, Irvin, McNabb, Brian Dawkins. This is a storied rivalry. And then you flash forward or hit the rewind button to November 5th. That was again, you mentioned Rashad was on for that one ahead of that game. Came down to a couple of critical plays. The Dak stepping out on the 2 point conversion. He reached
Mm.
the ball over the pylon, but he was out of bounds. Foot was out. And then the Shoemaker touchdown, it got ruled just short of the end zone. Of course, Cowboys fans were hot and livid about both of those, but we can't forget about how they made it um, an attempt, a last minute pitch at the end of the game. Dallas offense marched right down the field against that Philly secondary, that Philly defense you mentioned. I know big play Slay was out on that drive or got hurt. Um, but they came up just short. But they could have easily won that game overall. Ironically enough, they haven't lost the game since that matchup. They're also undefeated at home, which I think that'll feed into the Cowboys' mindset heading into this game. They want to try to keep that momentum going at home, and they've really been blowing people out there at AT&T Stadium as well. I think tensions will be at high in this one. They all know what's on the line. Eagles got them by one game right now in the NFC East. Philly was exposed after the first quarter last week against San Fran at the link. And then Jalen Hurts, who's to know if he's 100%? He did leave that game for, I think, just a play, came back in and finished the rest of the game. But, is he really at full strength heading into this one? I think that as a result, Dan Quinn will come out and dial the pressures a lot more. He'll try to feature of course, Michael Parsons, his star pass rusher to get after Jalen. On the back end, I think the Cowboys secondary has what it takes to contain AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. I know, I mentioned last week Devontae Smith has been coming on strong. AJ's kind of
Yeah.
taken a step back over the past couple of weeks. But if I'm Dallas, I'm gonna try to air it out against the Philly secondary. Like you mentioned, they're not very good back there. Raise the stress level for that defense. And then Dak and CD Lamb have been killing it, especially over the past 5, 6 weeks, man. It's just been they've damn near the best quarterback wide receiver combo. But I'm not 100% decided on this one. I think the Cowboys they'll clean up the mental mistakes they had in the first game. You mentioned like if they don't have any bonehead turnovers and stuff. Um, and I think they'll if I had to lean towards somebody, I'm going to take the Cowboys right now. I just think they're a little bit clicking on a little bit more cylinders. Again, I mentioned that home factor where they're not
Yeah,
only undefeated, but they're just blowing people out left and right there in Jerry World. So I'll go with the Cowboys as of now if I had to pick someone.
gotcha.
All right. I feel like we asked this question around this time last season as well, but does anyone want to win the NFC South? Bucks and Lions, excuse me, Bucks and Falcons at Mercedes-Benz Stadium Sunday afternoon, battle for first place there. What do you feel like uh
I
is
feel
going to
like
happen in this one?
I feel like whoever wins the NFC South might there's a great chance they will finish with an under 500 record. Just
Yeah.
the way it's going right now in that division. But back
Hmm.
to this game though, Falcons are favored by 2.5 points right now. But they got a tough task. They got Mike Evans, who I'm going to break off in the tangent in a second. If
It's
Falcons
a
on their
bad
injury
name.
report now, both their cornerbacks, AJ Terrell and Jeff Okuda, are both questionable. I know AJ Terrell has a concussion. I think he's in concussion protocol, and Okuda is having an ankle injury. So they definitely gonna, if they're healthy, they're gonna need their Wheaties, get a good night's sleep because they're going against Mike Evans. I
Yeah.
just want to say 10 straight seasons of over 1,000 yards receiving. Second only to Jerry Rice, who has 14 seasons of 1,000 yards, which is freaking insane. But
Hmm. Yeah.
I just want to ask you this. I'm gonna say I think Mike Evans has already got a resume for first ballot Hall of
First ballot.
Fame.
I agree.
Um, he's got that Super Bowl win as well with Tom Brady, so I
Hmm.
think he's solidified as Hall of Fame. I think he's an underrated receiver. I know he's 10,000 yards at least receiving 10 straight seasons of 1,000 yards, but I feel like a lot of guys kind of have bigger names, but Mike Evans is one of those guys who just produces with whatever quarterback. Jameis Winston, Baker Mayfield, of course, he had to go
Hmm.
Tom Brady, but I just want to. Do you think he's a first ballot Hall of Famers? I think it's
I
an
agree.
automatic lot.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Gotcha. But yeah, as far as his games goes, I guess I'm gonna give it to the Falcons. I think their defense is a little bit better. I also like Bajan Robinson, but they
Hmm.
just give me pause because Desmond Ritter, man, is
Yeah.
he's not like Jordan Love, but he kind of remind me in the beginning is like
Uh-huh.
this dude, man. He's got
Yeah.
the he's got the weapons. Jordan Love, he showed me way more flashes, but I mean, I said it. I tweeted out from my personal page, free Kyle Pitts, because I'm just thinking this dude is way better than what he's getting. He's got Drake London, and I just talked about Bajan Robinson. I mean, I just think the Falcons should win, but if they don't have AJ Terrell and Jeff Okuda, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, he's kind of been quiet. I know his wife posted something on social media, kind of going at Todd Bowles because I guess he had some comments about Chris Godwin as far as his usage, and his wife didn't like that, stuck up for him. But I think the Falcons should win this one. But like I said, if those cornerbacks aren't healthy, Mike Evans could be a game breaker. But yeah, let me go with the Falcons on this one, man. How about you? What are you thinking?
Yeah, both of these teams are coming off of wins last week. But to be honest, they were against the Panthers and Jets, so I can't really say much about that. The Falcons are a sneaky good team at home. I've always felt this, especially like over the last couple of years since I can never remember the coach Arthur Smith, since he's been um, there as the main guy in Atlanta. So many times over the past few games, we've seen them come from behind and keep it close, and then they win on the leg of Young Wei Koo. Um, Now the most accurate kicker in NFL history, unfortunately for Ravens fans. Um, I think this game will also come down to a game-winning kick for the leg of the Atlanta kicker as well. Desmond Ritter, he's played two of the league's best defenses, though. I know again that mentioned it was the Jets for them last week, but this Tampa defense will test him again. Hopefully, Levante David is back for this one. He was out last week. Devin White was out last week as well. He will be out in this one again. But they were stingy as hell a week ago. I mean, they really shut down Carolina in the first half. Carolina did come back in the second half, but early on, they really clamped down on them. Tampa, though, they're horrendous at running the ball, only averaging 85 yards per game on the ground. It's 30th in the league. So it'll have to rely on Bake, and you mentioned Mike Evans and those guys, Chris Godwin and company. The Atlanta defense, again, they better be ready for Mike Evans, like you mentioned, 10 straight years of 1,000 yards a season um, in his career. So yeah, again, with that being said, it's hard for me to pick against Atlanta at home. They just seem to find ways to win there, right? And they do it in a manner that kind of like just puts the knife in your back at the end of the game as the clock is expiring. They're kicking that game winning field goal, and you have no chance to respond. That's just it seems like that's always how they do it there at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Falcons in this one.
Gotcha. Yeah, we'll definitely see how that game goes. All right, we got a matchup in the AFC. Two teams, excuse me, that I thought would have a possibility of playing against each other in the AFC Championship, but I don't know how the Bills are looking. We got the Bills at the Chiefs. Brandon, how you feeling about this one, man?
Yeah, who would have thought both of these teams would be at the records that they have at this point heading into this game when we saw this on the calendar early in the year? Buffalo coming off their bye, they both lost their last game. Stephon Diggs, though, I'm calling on him. He's got to come back to being that guy. If Buffalo stands a chance in this one, it hasn't been the same for him, in my opinion, this year. Second year wideout, Khalil Shakir. He's out of Boise State. He's been holding down the fort, though, 6 receptions, 162 yards, and a touchdown over the past 2 games. But we all know that Diggs is the focal point for the skill position players there in Buffalo. So hopefully he can get back, um, have a big game here against the Chiefs, who have a very good defense. Also, be keeping an eye on Patrick Mahomes' blind side. Donovan Smith, he's questionable last check. Um, he'll be that'll force Juana Morris to make his first career start. I know he played in the second half of last week's game, and they said he played really good. They said he only gave up one pressure. So yeah, he'll definitely have to be ready for this one if he's out there. Ed Oliver, Greg Rousseau, and those guys, they'll be wanting to hunt in this one. So yeah, good luck to him if he's out there. Um, I think so many people want to see the Kansas City of old, and that's just not how they're winning. Like we're so used to them putting up points and blowing teams out, stuff like that. But they're kind of um, relying on their defense this year. They're relying on those turnovers, and they're capitalizing on the mistakes, giving Patrick Mahomes a short field, and again relying on the tight end Kelsey to make plays.
Mm,
Steve Spagnola's defense, though, on the other side, they could set the tone early in this one. Uh, Josh Allen, he's been generous with the ball. He gives up a lot of touchdowns, fumbles, and interceptions this year. And I think the crowd will certainly play a factor in this one as well. They've always played good in those late window games there. So 3 o'clock, 3:30 start time there in Kansas City. They always are really good in those games. So I think that the Chiefs will win very good in this one. I think they'll win by 10. Um, I say very good compared to some of their other scores this year. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Chiefs by at least 10 points. What about you?
gotcha. Yeah, the Chiefs are favored. They're only favored by 1.5 points in this game.
Wow.
Um, I think the Bills, man, they got so many injuries on the defensive side, but this is such a must-win game for the Bills. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they're 6-6 right now, I believe, and they can't afford too many more losses, especially against the AFC opponent. But I mean, like I said, the loss of Matt Milano, Tre'Davious White,
Yeah.
even the losses on their defensive line, just that defense. I don't know. I think we might see a kind of a vintage performance from Mahomes just because a lot of teams have been picking on that Bills defense. But the Chiefs are going to be without Isaiah Pacheco. I think that's going to be a huge loss for them at running back. I know they got Patrick Mahomes is their second leader rusher, but I don't think they want him to be out there taking
Yeah.
licks from guys. So I think I like the Chiefs in this game too. Hopefully they get Rashid Rice involved a little bit more. The rookie wide receiver is having a pretty good year for rookie standards anyway. And Kelsey, he might have another huge game just because that Bills defense is so gash. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs too in this one. But I think it'll be a little closer. I think it might be closer to what Vegas is saying, where Casey's only ahead by 1.5 points. I think, like you said, Stephon Diggs. Um, the rookie tight end whose name escapes me at the moment, Gabe Davis. Those guys will make some noise. It's going to be tough. Chris Jones might be a game record. but I think the Bills will make it a tough game. But in the end, I think Mahomes, he kind of, I don't want to say big brother Josh Allen, but he usually gets the best of him. I know they had a classic
Yeah.
battle a couple years ago in the playoffs, but I like the Chiefs two in this one. I think it'll be a little bit closer. Don't let Josh Allen go nuclear, Chiefs defense, and you guys should win this game. But I think it'll be probably one of the better matchups of this weekend. But we'll
Mhm.
see how that goes. Speaking of matchup, let's get into these other matchups in week 14. We have the Lions at the Bears, Jags at the Browns, Panthers at the Saints, Texans at the Jets, Rams at the Ravens, Vikings at the Raiders, Seahawks at the 49ers, Broncos at the Chargers, and we got a Monday Night Football doubleheader, everyone. Titans at the Dolphins and Packers at the Giants. Brandon, what are these games? Which of these games are you going to be looking at, man?
Jags and Browns. I think that it's a little bit up in the air, the quarterback situation right now. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, I think they're gonna, like we said in the open drive, they're gonna kind of wait till Sunday and see if he could play. But how will Doug Peterson call a game without Christian Kirk? He went down Sunday night as well, which I didn't even realize until well after the game. Both two good defenses on display there Sunday in the dog pound. Panthers and Saints, this game might very well be the first tie of the season.
Hmm.
Neither of these teams have played well for the amount of talent that they have. I know it seems like every time you turn around, Derek Carr is getting hurt, but yeah, divisional matchup as well. I think that'll also contribute to it. So yeah, again, this might be a tie, might end in a tie. Titans and Dolphins on Monday night. I'll focus on both of these Monday night football games. I hope the Dolphins put up 70 again against a team, and this time on the Titans. Boy, I can't stand them. I'm so happy they in last place in the AFC South. And Packers and Giants. Love is back in the air. My dad's Giants never play good in prime time, so I'm not even gonna think about picking them in this one. Of course, it'll probably be the night that they do win, but
Mm-hmm.
they have been
Kayvon
playing
Thibodeau.
a little bit better. But I know I saw something this week. DeVito is going to be starting, and that the coach said that he's earned the right to start. And I'm like, well, Tyrod Taylor's still very good, in my opinion. I don't think he's earned the right to start, like he said, but you know, they see a lot more of their games, obviously, than I do. Rams and Ravens, of course, I'll be watching that one. Number two ranked pass defense will have their hands full in this one. I know
Yeah.
Puka Nakua, I think he's questionable, if I'm not mistaken, at last check. But Cooper Cup and those guys are really good. They've been playing really good as of late. And we all know the arm of Matt Stafford. He can get the ball anywhere he wants to on the field. So yeah, we'll definitely. I'll be looking forward to that test for us ahead of some of the other bigger matchups we have coming up this season. And it's also a reunion of sorts for OBJ. Won a Super
Mm-hmm.
Bowl there with the Rams. So I know they asked him about it, and he basically said it's just another game. He took the politically correct answer in that one, but you know he'll be wanting to score in that one against his former team. Which of these matchups you'll be watching?
I'm gonna check out the Lions and Bears, see how the Lions they'll start winning again, or if the Bears will come in there and look like how they did against the Commanders. A loss I won't forget anytime soon. Checking out the Seahawks at Niners game. I think the Niners should win, but I'm hoping the Seahawks make it a good contest. Geno Smith will have a better performance. Um, Checking out the Broncos at Chargers to see if Russell Wilson can come back from that stinker he put up last week. I know I picked the Broncos over the Texans. I thought he played good in his first time in the dome this season, but he definitely stunk the joint up pretty bad. Vikings and Raiders. I think Justin Jefferson will be back, so I want to see how he looks
Ooh,
with Josh Dobbs at
yes,
quarterback. Definitely gonna be looking at
yes.
that Rams Ravens game too. I want to see how Odell looks against his former team. They said Lamar is has an illness. I don't know if
Illness, yeah.
he didn't practice today. I don't think, if I'm not
Yesterday he didn't.
mistaken.
Today he was back.
Oh, he's back today. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So
I don't know if he
hopefully,
practiced, but he was back. Let's put it that way.
gotcha. Hopefully he'll be healthy in time for that Rams game, or might be looking funny for the Ravens without him. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Hmm.
Jags and Browns, just to see if Trevor Lawrence will play. He might want to sit this one out. Miles Garrett and crew. I think Miles
Yeah,
Garrett is a little banged up with a shoulder injury or something, but
will still.
he'll still be
Yeah.
Miles Garrett. And Monday night football doubleheader. I want to see if they give one game to Troy and the guys, or if they'll have Manning cast on one game, or how that works out. I want to see. But
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it's gonna be a good weekend of football. Commanders on a bye, so they shouldn't lose. I don't think, right? They're on a bye. But yeah,
I was waiting for you to say something about your team. Knew they was on bye week. Y'all and the Cardinals. I think y'all the last I think this is the last week for buys, should be. So
yeah.
yeah. A lot of turmoil there in DC. All right. Turning to a little bit more positive news, the most prestigious award in the National Football League is the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominees. The list came out earlier this week. We're going to run down the names. Please excuse any names that I mispronounce um, ahead of time. I'm going to do the AFC, starting with the Ravens, linebacker Roquan Smith, Buffalo Bills, Diane Dawkins, Cincinnati Bengals, Ted Karras, Cleveland Browns, Anthony Walker Jr., Garrett Bowles for the Denver Broncos, Houston Texans, John Weeks, Indianapolis Colts, Zare Franklin, Jacksonville Jaguars, Dewan Smoot, Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Las Vegas Raiders, Max Crosby, Los Angeles Chargers, Derwin James Jr., the Miami Dolphins, and Alec Ingold, New England Patriots, Jonathan Jones, New York Jets, Solomon Thomas, Pittsburgh Steelers, the veteran Cam Hayward, and the Tennessee Titans with Jeffrey Simmons, another veteran.
Gotcha. And for the Arizona Cardinals, we got Jonathan Ledbetter. For the Falcons, Bradley Pinion. Carolina Panthers has nominated Bradley Bozeman. The Bears have nominated Justin Jones. Dallas Cowboys got DeMarcus Lawrence. Detroit Lions have Frank Ragnow. The Green Bay Packers have Devondre Campbell. The Los Angeles Rams have Cooper Kupp. The Minnesota Vikings have Harrison Phillips. New Orleans Saints have Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger. The New York Giants have Saquon Barkley. The Eagles got Lane Johnson. The 49ers have Eric Armstead. The Seahawks have Bobby Wagner. The Tampa Bay Bucks have Antoine Whitfield Jr. And the Commanders got my guy, Terry McLaurin. I'm gonna be a homer, of course, and I hope Terry McLaurin wins it. They put out a nice, cool video of him. His girlfriend surprised him. They were saying they had an
Hmm.
interview set up with Santana Moss, but she actually came in the room and let him know that the Commanders nominated him for Walter Payton the Man of the Year. It was a really cool video.
Yeah, I like how this list is a mix of veterans and young guys. It just shows that, they're all working hard in the community and doing good stuff for, people in need across the country. Um, I agree with you. I want to be a homer and go with Roquan Smith. Just the impact that he's had on our organization, the way they talk about him as a leader in the locker room and everything. I do also like the former Raven Bradley Bozeman. I do miss him in Baltimore. He's now with the Carolina Panthers. It would be nice to see Bobby Wagner win it. He played several years with Seattle, left there, went to San Fran in his first year back now with the Seahawks there in the Pacific Northwest. I also like Eric Armstead as well. But and Big Cam Hayward, he's a violent guy on the field as far as like the way he plays, not violent, but like he's very competitive, but just a great guy. They talk very highly of
No,
him.
you can say violent.
Yeah.
You can say
I mean, like
violent.
he's not like one of those hard hitters like safeties or something like that. That's what I meant. It's not violent, but he's very competitive for sure. I do like this award for another reason because when you know DeMar Hamlin got injured last year, I called on the NFL to kind of like highlight players more and what they do in the community. Because you know how as soon as he got injured, everybody's like, "Oh, he has a foundation," and people start donating and stuff like that because they
Mm-hmm.
didn't know, whether he was going to survive, obviously. And this award kind of highlights each single team and one player on their team, and how they are in the community. I like that. I think that NFL films and stuff can do more to highlight these guys of what they do in the community, because we always see what they do on the field. Unless you're in their market, you see something every now and then. You see something on the national level of what a player has done, but we don't see it unless we're you know in California. So you see the three teams there, the 3 4 teams, or in that zone. And then in Maryland I see Washington and Baltimore. So it's just not out there like it's good. But when something bad happens, it obviously makes the national headlines. But something good, that they just don't get enough praise for what they do. So yeah, this is definitely an award I love to see. But I do though think that Patrick Mahomes is going to get it. The golden child is gonna they're gonna give him one before he
Yeah.
retires. For sure. He got a lot more he gonna play, but yeah, he'll probably get in his
They be
first
doing
year.
some good stuff in the community.
Yeah, he probably do, but the golden boy. They're gonna give him a couple extra votes, make sure he get it. So I'll be surprised if he don't. All right, so it looks like that's the end of our show for today. Thanks everyone for watching. Please follow us on X, formerly Twitter, and IG. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. We definitely appreciate every bit of it. Ed, you enjoy your bye week. I know you don't watch very many of your games anymore, but it's always relaxing to be on a bye week for sure. Trust me, I was very relaxed last week.
It's been a bye week for me for about the last 10 weeks. So
Yep, understood. I feel you. I feel you. Best of luck off the bye week next week. All right, everyone. Until next time, love one another.